During 1988, I was race engineer for Alan Prost for the whole of that year, which I had been the previous year as well. And the obvious thing to remember about the MP4-4 was it won 15 races out of 16 and came fairly close to making a clean sweep of it, apart from that unfortunate accident at Monza. That car was a bit of a departure from the previous McLarens, and certainly in my experience it was the latest we'd ever appeared with a new car. We ran one day of testing at Imola, which was just over a week before the first race, and suddenly this new car appeared, and all the handling traits of the previous car had vanished, and it was without the driver really breaking into a sweat. Boom, the lap time was just there straight away, and I think the relief for everyone, because Honda had been understandably very nervous, and the fact that where's our new car, why isn't it testing yet, and Ron had been placating them for weeks and weeks, and Prost drove the car first during that day, and literally on his first proper run he was a couple of seconds quicker than the old car we'd been doing all our testing in. You know, you could see his spirits just raise immediately, and I think at that point he knew the championship was between him and Ayrton, and it was a big surprise for us. I think even bigger surprise for the rest of the competitors. The Honda engine we used was a V6. It was the last year of the turbo era, and it's a very compact, quite a low crankshaft height, so the gearbox and everything were very low down, so the whole car centre of gravity was low. And the V6 was a nice engine to fit in the racing car because it was short, very good structural size, and good for packaging with the cooling systems that we need for a turbo engine. It's still looked on as really a big marker in car design. And I think if you look at that compared to a more modern car, it's so small, simple, and everything. The aerodynamics are very clean because it's very uncomplicated and uncluttered. If you took the steering wheel off a car from the 4.4, it almost looks like something you'd find in a kid's push cart now, and there's perhaps one or two switches, one for the radio and one to change the revs for overtaking, but that's almost it. And you have a manual gear stick just like any road car has, and mechanically it's very simple compared to what we're used to seeing, what I guess is nearly 25 years later. The MP4-4 is an iconic car really because of the success it had that year, and also it was the first year that Ayrton won a world championship, and I think if you speak particularly to Lewis, Ayrton is a benchmark to what they should aspire to be as a driver. And I think that, as we've seen when Lewis sat in the car, and you know, it's like a kid in a toy shop really, and it's just brings back memories of when they were only knee-high, perhaps having their first interest in motorsports, and that's something that inspired them. But I think you look back on that year, and it was so dominant. It was just a privilege to work with two such intense and very competitive drivers that it was just a really enjoyable time.